Well, hello, Canadian Campaholic here with a little bit of a repair video today. If you're watching this video because you need it for instructions, I'll put some timestamps down below so you can just jump ahead to the part you want. For those of you that are subscribers, you know I like to tell a story, so let's tell a story. So folks familiar with the channel know that back in the spring, I towed the trailer to a rural RV repair place that's about 30 minutes away from where I live, primarily to have the brakes looked at and serviced. And as part of that experience, they installed a new battery disconnect switch for me. But I noticed that they used a very old, very worn out, less than ideal, dirty positive cable. So they connected the original positive cable from the trailer into the switch, and then they grabbed this junky piece of wire to connect to the actual battery itself. The place where I went to is also an RV salvage location, so that probably explains why they did this and wanted to save a few bucks. When I first looked at it, I couldn't see underneath. I could just see it connected to the battery, and I thought, well, that's not ideal. A little bit of oxidization, it's a bit dirty, but you know what the hell, if it's doing the job, it's doing the job. You'll also recall that that was when my marker light covers mysteriously disappeared, and I had to get them replaced. So, to piece this together, when we went camping in the last trip, you saw in the video, our battery died. The AGM battery died. We picked up a new regular deep cycle battery, nothing fancy, hooked it up to the camper. We came home, had it on shore power just for a little bit, disconnected the shore power, switched the battery disconnect to off, let the trailer sit for, gosh, it had to be almost a week. Yesterday, I come out to do some work on the trailer. I flipped the battery disconnect switch back to the on position. Now, again, nothing's been running, nothing's been using power from the battery that entire time, and the panel inside the camper said empty. And I'm thinking, what the heck? It's empty? Why would it be empty? It's a brand new battery. It was charging the whole time we were camping. It hasn't been touched really since we got home. Why would it be empty? Well, did a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of checking fuses inside the camper and investigating, using a little bit of ChatGPT to try and figure out what was going on. I don't just use AI, I do use reputable sites and forums and things. And it was pointing to a number of possibilities. It could have been the actual panel itself not reading correctly. It could be your converter having an issue. There's fuses in there that help run the 12-volt system and the charging. Maybe they were blown. Tested all them, no problems. I took a multimeter, took a reading of the battery. It was sitting around 12.7 volts, that's pretty good. That's almost fully charged. Nice resting charge for a battery. What was kind of weird though was that when I plugged it into shore power, that voltage at the battery did not climb up. Should go up around 13.5, 13.6. So I'm thinking, is it my converter? I rechecked the wiring because I was a little suspicious of that wire that you just saw. Disconnected it, reconnected it, went in the camper and disconnected it from shore power, hit that button on the panel to test what the battery level was. And now I started to get a third full on the battery, but when I would try to hit that button on the monitor panel, the interior lights of the trailer would start to flicker, which made me very, very suspicious that there was some sort of short or issue with the wiring somewhere. Long story short, it got really buggy and mosquito-y, so I just, reconnected everything on the battery, made sure it was nice and tight, left it on shore power, got up this morning, and sure enough, I've got about 13.6 volts going to the battery. So clearly the converter does kick in when it needs to. It does charge the battery, and now the panel for the battery is reading full. So I thought, you know what, it's got to be that cable. And when I took the cable off today, and I knew it was soft, I knew it was old, I knew that the insulation here was not tight, like there shouldn't be that much flex. But now when you flip it over, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but there is a break in that insulation, and I don't know if you can see down in there, but there is a lot of bluey green oxidization on that copper. So what I suspect is happening is that bouncing up and down the road, changing the battery over and all those good things, plus the fact that terminal should not look orange like that. That's not very good. This is the problem. So what I'm gonna do here is I've disconnected the battery, took the negative cable off first, then the positive. I'm now gonna remove the battery disconnect switch, and I'm gonna actually remove this entire positive cable that the RV place added. I'm gonna measure it. I can already see, based on the the outer shell. It's 8 gauge. I might actually go to 4 gauge for the replacement. It certainly won't hurt, although 8 gauge is probably sufficient. But I want to make sure that I've got the right amount of length, because I don't want to be trying to splice this together myself. I don't really have the tools for that. I want to buy a piece of cable that's already got the terminals on both ends, and then change it. Now you might be thinking, well, why don't you go back to the RV place? Why don't you go back and have them fix it? I'm not going to bother with that, folks. It's a half an hour drive from here. When I called them to talk about the cover light, the marker light lenses being missing, they were not accommodating at all. They just said, oh, sometimes it happens. And the more I think about it, the more I think that place is just sketchy. And again, I'm not going to say the name of the business. I don't want to get into a battle with them. But I think in this case, I should just cut my loss. Does this mean that my AGM battery was actually fine? Yes and no. I don't think that was a bad decision to change it, because at almost 9 years old, that is well beyond the expected serviceable life of that battery. So I don't think that was necessarily a mistake. But I am starting to wonder if that empty, which we saw when we got to Point Farms, was not an accurate reading. So again, everything's disconnected from the battery. We're not connected to shore power. That's all unplugged under there. I just put my drill with the appropriate socket, appropriate on the end there, and we've removed the switch. This is the cable that we need to remove. This one doesn't look too bad, but it looks like he's crimped that in there. So basically we'll just remove this cable. Like I said, we'll measure it. I'll put the switch back in place just to make sure that it's all good and doesn't get wet, and then we'll bring you back once we have the replacement cable. So like that Las Vegas guy who went on vacation years ago, I filmed most of what I was doing here with it on selfie mode, and all you got was a video of the sky, which is highly embarrassing. So let me show you what we did. This light red one that you see here going to the battery, this is the new one from Amazon. There's basically a little washer there, locking washer. Don't know if that's the proper term. And then a nut. I just made sure the terminal was flat up against that. Tighten it down, hand tight, and then put a socket on there. You don't want it you don't want to crank it and torque it and break the case, but you do want it quite snug so that it's not going to move. Give it a bit of a wiggle. Make sure that it's properly connected. This is the original positive cable that would have at one time just gone straight to the battery. You can see they put a new end on it. Just going to use the drill just to push those out just a bit. And then that just makes it a little bit easier. I don't know if you can see this because of this stupid head mount that I'm using, but that just makes it a little bit easier to locate it on the existing holes on the frame. All right, so that's on there nice and tight. There we go, that's good. Never hurts just to check it twice. That's good. Again, I don't want to crack the case. I just want to make sure that's tight. Okay, so we put the cable up here on the battery. I don't have as much slack as I had before. With this cable, it's about 3.5 feet. This is exactly 3 feet. And he had it kind of looped. I will zip tie it in a minute, but I'm not going to worry about looping it necessarily. I just want to zip tie it so that it's not moving. There's my negative cable. Let's take that off of there. I was going to voltage test the battery, but I forgot to do that. I was going to test it with the multimeter, but it's only been a few days. I think it took 2 days through Amazon to get the cord, the cable rather. Whoopsie. Just snug that down. Okay, all right, well, before we mess around with the cover, let's now see how things look in the trailer. Just want to make sure that the panel is reading correctly. Because if you remember, that was the crux of the problem. That perfectly healthy battery was showing as empty. So we're going to climb up in the camper now. And let's go up to the board here. Hopefully that's in focus. Still only says a third. I'm a little concerned that that's still reading kind of low, but it's better than it was. I guess I could volt test it in a minute and see. We've got lights, and they're not. Let's see if they flicker when we Oh, now it's saying like nothing. That is so weird. So I think we found our smoking gun just on a whim after that terrible result. I took the switch off the trailer again and disconnected the original positive cable that was part of this camper that's on the back of the switch and connected it to the battery. Hooked everything back up and watch what happens. Not on shore power. Everything connected with original wiring. Everything is full. Turn on a bunch of lights, which is LED, so they should pull very little amps or current, voltage, whatever. Still stays way up. So, I think it's the switch. So now I'm left with the question of, do I replace the switch with a better quality one? I've already sunk money into buying that other cable. Or do I just say, forget it, and not even use it? I haven't used a battery disconnect for a long, long time because we're nearly always on shore power here at the house. And in the winter months, I just disconnect the battery and put it on a charge, and I've never had a problem. I only put the disconnect switch on there because the idiot at the service place said, oh, yeah, I could do that for you. It's no problem. And I trust and believe that it's a new switch that he used, but I think it's just a poor quality and it's creating some sort of resistance, which is causing a voltage drop. And these KIB basic monitor panels, they don't calibrate, they just read system voltage. So, yeah, this is an interesting result. So, if anybody's had these issues on your system, let me know. I think for now I'm just going to go back to the original wiring that came with the trailer, leave it plugged in on shore power. I'll take the switch off and measure it, and then try and decide if I want to bother buying a replacement. I'll just cut those zip ties, hold on to the cables for now. Doesn't hurt to have those, I suppose, but yeah, it's such an odd situation. So likely we've been having issues with the way that panel was reading right since April when we had the service done, and I've just never noticed it just because of the way that we camp. Okay, so you rejoin the action several days later because I've purchased a new battery disconnect switch. This is a Blue Sea Systems M-Series switch, probably 2 to 3 times the price of the kind of switch which was installed by the RV location. And everything seems to be working great. It's currently not mounted to the frame yet because I wanted to test it before I drilled new holes. The hardware it uses is a bit of a different size than the other switch. But yeah, when you come inside the camper and you go up to the monitor panel, you get all your lights on, turn on a couple of interior lights, go up to the battery panel, and again, you've still got a full panel. So excellent results. So may have been a quirk of the system of the trailer. I don't necessarily want to condemn the old switch, and I also don't necessarily want to throw all my frustration at the repair place. It could have just been a quirk of the trailer. But yeah, we'll get this thing mounted, the new one mounted, and then we'll wrap up the video. All right, so project done. Here's the new switch in situ, bolted to the frame. It's a little bit crooked, but it doesn't really impact the way it functions. We've got the cords looped together and zip tied there. Give them a little bit of flex, but not too much. I also picked up a new Atwood battery box strap. This is 40-inch, which is good for just a small little 24 series battery box like this. The nice thing about these battery straps is they're just long enough so you don't have a bunch of extra material flapping around. And apparently they are impervious to battery acid, so the strap's not going to be degraded by any possible battery acid leaks, etc. So yeah, all squared away, all tested, everything's working perfectly. The only thing I might do at some point, I don't have any right now, is get some thread locker, that blue stuff, and I might take those self-tapping screws out of there. Self-tapping bolts, whatever the proper terminology is, put a little bit of thread locker on there just so that when we're driving down the road, they don't back out. I guess I could crawl underneath rather, and put a little locking washer on the backside. That's a possibility as well. But I'm also going to keep some spares to make sure that is nice and secure. All right, so now we will officially wrap this video up. It was supposed to just be a simple little repair video, just change out a wire and be done. But as you saw, it turned into quite a bit more than that, and it became a little bit expensive. One could argue that because I went without a battery disconnect for 9 years, was it really worth spending the money now to deal with it? And I would say yes. Looking back on it, though, I don't know that that switch necessarily was full-on defective. It might have just been something to do with the way that KIB panel was reading voltage after a complete system reset. But that Blue Sea system switch definitely seems to be the magic fix, and it didn't hurt to put a new positive cable on it as well. So anyway, we'll end the video here. If this is your first time to the channel, thanks for hanging in there. This is not your quick and dirty instructional videos. I do tend to wax lyrical. Consider subscribing to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, helps us a great deal. If you don't want to subscribe, at least give us a thumbs up, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.